This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so what is the topic that we are discussing? What did we discussed in previous session?
Plugins.
Yeah, we started discussing about the plugins and what was our requirement that we are trying to implement. What is our requirement that we discussed? See, we have
When we change the annual
yep,
revenue of account
right.
who are associated with employees, the salary should be changed to same.
Very good. So the
And
requirement is, let's say I am on account. I am on account. So I am modifying the annual revenue of an account. Let's say if I go to annual revenue and if I update annual revenue to 90,000, let's say. And if I click on save, what should happen? The same annual revenue value should get updated on employee salary. See, there are 5 employees which are associated to this particular account called HCL, and it has a salary value, right? So whatever the annual revenue that I am entering it here, that should get updated on the salary field of an employee. Okay, so that was the requirement. Okay, and then we started implementing our plugin. Okay, let me open the plugin. So yesterday we have seen till we get the target target record. Okay, so we got the service factory, we got the service, and then we got the target. Okay, so this is the code that we have written. So first to copy this code. Okay, let me go to this path. It was not loaded properly. So let me delete this. So I want to delete this file. You no need to do this. Okay. So my Visual Studio has some problems. So okay, so let me create one more class file. Add class file. Okay, so name update employee salary. Okay, update employee salary, right? So see, so this is our code. You can see the errors. There are a lot of errors. Why are we getting these errors? So these are related to references. Let's expand the references and see. See, we do not have the CRM references. Yesterday we added, but those not loaded properly. So let's add the references. Click on add reference. Click on browse. So I want to select the reference. This is SDK. These two. Okay. Okay, now done. Now all errors gone. Okay. So we have seen till here, till we get the annual revenue value. See, first we are getting the service and then we are getting the target. So which entity is the target here? On which entity we are triggering the logic? See, when I change the
Account.
correct, when I change the annual revenue of an account, it should get triggered. So our target entity will become the account because I am going to trigger my plugin on change of annual revenue on account. So my target entity will be the account. So when I write it like context dot input parameters of target, this will give the information of account entity. So now I am storing that account information in this variable. Okay. This is the name of the variable. You can give any name, XYZ, ABC, anything. Okay, so this holds the account information. Okay, so this has the information of annual revenue and this has the information of the record id. See, let's say I am modifying the annual revenue of this particular HCL record. So this record has ID, right? See here, you have a account ID. So this ID also present in this particular variable. And this is account entity, right? This account entity will have the schema name. So that schema name also available here. If I write it like target account, if I write it like target account dot logical name, this will give us the schema name of account. If I write it like target account dot ID, this will give us the record ID. What is record ID? This is HCL record. This HCL record has a ID. See here, this is the ID. So it will give that ID. Okay. So if I want to get the annual revenue, so it is having annual revenue. If I want to get the annual revenue, then you have to write it like this. First, you need to write the if statement. First, you need to check if annual revenue value is present in this object or not. Okay. First, you need to check if this target account contains revenue or not. If it is containing annual revenue, then it will return true. This statement will return true. So the if loop, it will go inside. It will go inside, and then from this target account, I am trying to get the annual revenue. Target account dot attributes of annual revenue. Annual revenue is of which type? Currency type. Okay. And then dot value. So if I write it like this will give us the annual revenue value. What is annual revenue value here? 90,000. So this 90,000 will be stored here. 90,000 will be stored here. Okay. Now we got the annual revenue of an account. Then what should we do next? What should we do next? So now I know what is the annual revenue in my plugin. And then what is the next step that we need to do? I need to fetch all the related employees. I have 5 employees, related 5 employees. These five employees, salary should get updated to 90,000, right? This I wanted to fetch the related employees. I wanted to fetch the related employees which are specific to account. Okay, so I have to write retrieve multiple statement here. Okay, I have to write retrieve multiple to fetch the related employees of an account. Okay, so I have to write retrieve multiple here. Okay, so as we discussed in previous session, like when we are discussing about the custom workflows, we have written retrieve multiple, right? Retrieve multiple using fetch XML. Okay. Now we will see writing a retrieve multiple, implementing retrieve multiple using query expression. Okay. Retrieve multiple can be implemented in two ways. Okay. One, using fetch XML. Using fetch XML, you can write retrieve multiple. You can retrieve the records, multiple records, or using query expression also you can retrieve the records. Okay, in previous session we have seen how to fetch the records using fetch XML. Now I will show you how to fetch the records using query expression. Okay, now we wanted to get the list of employees, so for that reason I am going to write retrieve multiple records, retrieve multiple statement. Okay, so for that I am declaring one more method. Okay, you can also write the code inside this, but that is not recommended. Okay, so you shouldn't write all the code inside a single method. Instead, you have to distribute the code. Okay, so this is your execute method. Okay, so this is the first method which will trigger when you run the plugin. Okay, so I am declaring one more method, that is public. So this is entity collection. Entity collection means what? Entity collection get employees. Get employees method. So execute void means what? When you call this execute method, it is not returning anything. Void means nothing. So this method get employees method has a return type which is entity collection. Entity collection means, let's say if anyone calls this method get employees method, it will return entity collection, list of records. List of records. Entity collection means uh, multiple records. It is not a single record. If I write it like entity, then it will be a single record. If I write it like entity collection, which means that it will return list of records. We are writing retrieve multiple, right? If it is retrieve multiple, it won't return single record. It will return multiple records. Okay, so that is why I'm declaring it as entity collection. Okay, so open close, open close. See, we discussed in the previous session. See, you have two methods, execute method. You also have get employees method. So when I run this plugin, execute method will run first, right? So will it trigger get employees method? We all know that execute method will trigger, but so now I declared it like this. Will it call get employees method? Yes or no? Will it call get employees method? I have another method called get employees. Will it be called when I run the plugin? It won't.
Yes.
No, it won't
But
call.
here we are
Ah,
giving that function, right?
you are declaring the function.
Hmm.
See, this function declaration. Okay, it is not a calling of a function. You're getting
Oh,
my point.
yeah.
See, we are just declaring a method. Okay, we are not calling anywhere. See,
Okay.
you are just declaring it right now. So this is just a declaration of a method. If you want to call it, you have to call this method from execute method. Okay,
Got
expand
it.
execute method. So anyway, execute method will be called first. We all know. You no need to call execute method, but Microsoft internally written the code in such a way that when the plugin is getting triggered, execute method will trigger first. Okay, you no need to call it externally. Microsoft handle it internally. Okay, so by default, execute method will call. But if you want to call your own method, this is get employees method, which was created by me. If I want to call this, then I have to call this get employees method inside execute method. Inside execute method, I have to call get employees method. So copy get employees method, paste it here. Okay, now I am calling get employees method from execute method. So this is my execute method, this is my execute method. Inside this execute method I am calling get employees method. I am calling get employees method. So get employees method, open close semicolon. So when I write it like this, it will call get employees method. So inside execute method, I am calling get employees method. When I call get employees method, this will get initiated. So when I call get employees method, what is the return type it is expecting? So when I call this, what will it give us? It will give us entity
Yes.
collection, list of records, list of employees, right? So I need to capture them, right? So when I call this get employees method, it is returning entity collection, list of records. So I have to capture them, right? I can capture them in entity collection variable. Entity collection, entity collection, entity collection, list of list of employees equal. Okay. So now I am calling get employees method. When I call get employees method, it is returning list of records, right? So list of records can be stored in entity collection. So that is why I declared one variable called entity collection list of employees. This is the name of the variable. So when I call this method, it is returning list of employees, and all those employees will be stored in this variable. Okay, now I am calling this method is returning list of employees. I'm storing those list of employees here in this variable. See, we discussed in the previous session. Let's say if I want to retrieve, or if I want to create, or if I want to update, which what we need. If you want to create any record, if you want to delete any record, if you want to retrieve any record, what do we need?
Service.
Service factory.
Not service factory, we need service.
Okay.
Okay, see here we have service object. So this service object. So if I write it like service dot, you can see that you can create, you can update, create, retrieve multiple, you can do anything. Okay. So if you have the service object, you can create, update, delete, you can do anything. Okay. So this is service. So now I wanted to retrieve the records inside get employees method. So inside get employees method, I am going to write retrieve multiple here. I want I want retrieve multiple here, but this get employees method, is it having service object? Get employees doesn't have service object. Service object was present in which method? Service object was declared in execute method.
Execute method.
So get employees doesn't have service method, but I want to use service inside get employees. So what I have to do, I have to pass service object from execute method to get employees method as a parameter. Okay, see, service object is present in execute method, but get I want to implement retrieve multiple inside get employees. Get employees doesn't have service object, so I want to take the help from execute method since it is having service object inside. So I am going to pass service object from execute method to get employees method as a parameter so that I can use the service object inside get employees method. Okay, now you have service object. I am passing the service object as a parameter. Okay, from execute method, I am passing service object to get employees method. So I am passing service object, right? Service object is of which type? Service object is of which type? I organization service. So you need to declare I organization service here. So type I organization service, I organization service space service. Okay. So I am passing service variable here, service object here to get employees method. So here I have to receive this service object. So here I'm just passing as a parameter. So once you pass it, you also need to receive it, right? So here you are receiving the service object. Now you got the service object. Okay. Now you got the service object. Now here we have to write retrieve multiple. Retrieve multiple. Okay. Retrieve multiple can be implemented in how many ways? First way is using fetch XML.
XML.
Second way is using query expression. Okay, retrieve multiple can be used by fetch XML or by query expression. Okay, so in the previous session we have seen how to implement retrieve multiple using fetch XML. Now we are going to write query expression. Okay, we will implement retrieve multiple using query expression. Okay, so if you don't know how to implement retrieve multiple using query expression, you can simply go to Google and type, everything is ready made, you no need to by heart anything. Okay, see, you can type it like mscrm plugin retrieve multiple using query expression. So if I type it like this, retrieve multiple using query expression. Okay, so you can get the code. Yeah, this is the code. You can simply copy this code. Okay, copy this code and paste it here. So this is the code. You no need to buy hard anything, so it is available. So first we are going to implement retrieve multiple using query expression, right? So first you need to create query expression object. Okay, so to write a retrieve multiple, before that you need to create query expression object. See, like this, query expression. So here, which entity records we are going to retrieve? Which entity records we are trying to retrieve? Which entity?
Employee.
Employee, right? Very good. So I am writing employee name, employee. Okay. So query expression or QE, query expression employee. Okay. You can give any name which is meaningful here. So I have just given like this, QE means query expression employee. Okay, equal to new query expression. So here we are going to retrieve which entity records? Employee entity records. So you have to pass employee entity schema name. So what is employee entity schema name? We don't know. Let's find it out. Okay, so now you are here. Let's copy this URL. Let's open the settings. So click on settings only true. Let it open. It's taking some time. Yeah. Now let's go to settings, solutions. Okay, let's open the solution. So expand entities, expand. Okay, you do not have employee entity. Let's add employee entity. Add existing entity, employee entity. So you have employee entity here. Click OK. Now I am just adding employee entity to this particular solution. Okay, let's click on finish. Because in my solution it is not available. Okay, now we have employee entity. Let's click on employee entity. Now you can see the name. So copy this particular name and paste it here. Okay, so I just declared one variable query expression object. Sorry, query expression object. Query expression QE employee equal to new query expression. So I am going to retrieve employee records. That is why I am passing the employee entity schema name here. Okay, so using this query expression object, I need to write it like query expression object dot column set equal to new column set. What are the fields that you wanted to retrieve? Let's say if you want to retrieve the employee records. What fields that you wanted to retrieve? Employee name or employee salary or employee date of joining. What field that you wanted to retrieve, that you can specify it here. So this is column set. What are the fields that you wanted to retrieve, that you can mention it here. Basically, we do not need any field. Okay, you do not need to fetch any field. You do not want to fetch the salary, or you do not want to fetch the name of an employee. Okay, because we don't require in this requirement, but you can keep any field if you want. Let's say I want to retrieve salary and I wanted to retrieve name of the employee. Okay, then so let's click on fields, display name. So where do we have employee name? Name. Yeah, so you have name. So this is a ratio underscore name. Copy this field and put it here. So I wanted to retrieve employee name and employee salary. Let's say salary. So this is salary. Okay, copy this. Just give me a second. Salary. Okay, so this is the schema name of salary. Okay, salary. Okay, fine. So I declared query expression object. Now I mentioned the column set. What are the fields that I wanted to retrieve? I want to get employee name, employee salary. Fine, done. So now you need to declare the condition. On what condition, on what condition basis you want to retrieve the records? What is your condition? Do you want to retrieve all the employees? See, when you click on employees, right now it is showing 14 employees. Do you need all the employees? Do you
No.
want
No.
do you want to retrieve all the employees? No, I do not want to retrieve all the employees. But what employees do you need? I need employees which are specific to a company, right? So I need, okay, let me add company here, company, apply. Okay. See, I do not want all the employees. I want the employees which are specific to a company. Let's say it might be HCL, it might be TCS, or it might be any other company. So my condition is get all the employees where company equal to HCL, or company equal to TCS, or company equal to any other company. So what is my condition here? I do not want to retrieve all the employees. I want the employees which are specific to a company. It might be HCL, it might be TCS, or it might be any company. So condition would be, so first declare the condition attribute. Okay, condition object. This is condition object. Condition expression, condition equal to new condition expression. So I just declared condition expression object. Now I am writing a condition. Condition dot attribute name. On what field basis we have to write the condition? On what field basis we have to write the condition?
Company.
Company. What is the schema name of the company? We don't know. Let's find it out. So I want to write a condition based on company. So what is the schema name of company? Let's find it out. Style company. See here, you have company. Okay, let's refresh. I have company here. So copy this schema name and paste it here. Okay, so this is condition object. Okay, so condition object dot attribute name. Which field basis we need to filter? We need to filter based on company. Condition dot operator. Operator means conditional operator dot equal. Okay, equal to company equal to. Okay, company equal to what? Condition dot values dot add. Company equal to what? Company equal to
It's in
company equal to, so you shouldn't write like this. You shouldn't write like this. Okay, you shouldn't write this. You shouldn't write like this. So HCL is, it is not a simple text field. It is a record. When I click on HCL, a record will be opened, and this record will have ID. See here, you have ID. So you have to pass this particular ID. You shouldn't write it like HCL equal to like this. You shouldn't write. So instead, what you have to write, so you need to pass the ID of the record. What is the ID of the record? ID means GUID. ID means GUID. So you need to type it like new GUID, open close. You need to paste that ID here. What is the ID of the HCL? Let's say, let's get the ID of HCL. So here you have the ID of HCL. So you have to pass it like this. Let's say I passed the ID of HCL. So if I run this plugin, it will always fetch the records of which company? If I pass company,
HCL.
if I pass company as HCL, then it will try to fetch. It will always try to fetch the records of employee records of HCL company. Correct? So is it correct? Let's say if I open TCS related record should come, or HCL record should come. HCL related employee should come. See, whatever the company that I
So
am
we need
open,
to find dynamic value.
correct. So whatever the account that I am opening and modifying the annual revenue, that account ID should come here. You shouldn't pass a static value here. You should pass a dynamic value. You should pass a dynamic record ID here. So, but do you have an account ID? Do you have a dynamic account ID? So first of all, can you tell me on which entity it is getting triggered?
Account entity.
On account entity. So what is the target entity?
Account.
Account. So this is target account, right? So if I write it like target account dot ID, will it give the ID or not? What is this ID? Which record ID is it?
Account.
Account. Account.
Account ID. So we have the account ID, right? We have the account ID which is coming from the target. So we can use this. You can pass this account ID to that query expression. Okay. So, but this account ID is available in which method? This account
Execute
ID.
method.
This account ID is present in execute method. But I want the account ID. I want the account ID in get employees method. In get employees method, I want to use that ID, account ID. So what should I do? I have to pass this particular account ID, target account dot ID. Okay, target account dot ID. I have to pass target account dot ID from execute method to get employees method. So I am passing another parameter, that is account ID. This is account ID. I am passing account ID from execute method to get employees method. So here in the get employees method, I should also receive the account ID. So this account ID is of which type? It is of type GUID. So I need to declare it like GUID account ID. You can give any name here, which is meaningful. Okay, now I am passing account ID from execute method to get employees method. Okay, now I know what is account ID. Okay, so I can pass this account ID here. Okay, you can remove everything and pass the account ID. Company equal to this particular company, this particular account ID. If I open HCL, HCL will come here. If I open TCS, TCS will come here. Okay, you shouldn't give the static value. Now condition is done. So I declared condition object first, and then I set the condition attribute is company equal to this particular company. Okay, now this condition you need to attach it to query expression. This is query expression object. This is condition object. So this condition object, you need to attach it to query expression. Okay. So now you have to write it like query expression dot criteria dot add condition. What is your condition? This is my condition. I am attaching this condition to this particular query expression. Now this is the final query expression. Now so this is order attribute. So you do not require this add order attribute right now. You can ignore it. Okay. So now your query expression is ready. We are querying employee records. We are trying to fetch employee name and salary. And the condition is company equal to this particular company. Okay. Now final statement is using service object. You have a service object here. See, you have service object here. Using service, I'm writing like service dot retrieve multiple. Okay, service dot retrieve multiple, and I have to pass what I have to pass query expression. What is the query expression object? This is the query expression object. Copy this query expression object, paste it here. So this is retrieve multiple. Service dot retrieve multiple. I am passing the query expression. Whatever the query expression that we built right now, I am passing that as a parameter to retrieve multiple. So when this particular statement get executes, what was the expectation? It will fetch all the employee record which are specific to this particular account. Okay, and all those employee records I am storing it in this particular variable. What is this variable? Employees. Okay, so we are retrieving service dot retrieve multiple. This will fetch which entity records? Employee records. I am storing all those employee records into this particular variable. Employees is of which type? Entity collection. It is not a single record. Okay, so that is why I'm storing it in entity collection variable. Okay, now see this get employees method. What is the return type it is expecting? Entity collection. So when somebody calls this get employees method, and if they pass service and account ID, this method should give us the list of employees in return. Okay, now we got the list of employees. Now I got all the employee records in this variable. It is available. It is of type entity collection. So you just need to return. You have to write it like return employees. Return employees. Okay, so this is how you have to write a retrieve multiple. This is simple retrieve multiple. So this is retrieve multiple is completed. Retrieve multiple using query expression. We have written the retrieve multiple using query expression. Previously we have written using fetch XML. Okay, now retrieve multiple is done. You can minimize this, go up. So first execute method will trigger. It will get the service, it will get the target, it will get the annual revenue of account, and it will call the get employees method, and then execution will come here. It will fetch the list of employees. Now list of employees are available here. Now I retrieved all the list of employees which are specific to this particular account. After that, what should I do? I know what are the employees. 4 employees, 5 employees, 10 employees, all employees count will come here, specific to account. After that, what should we do? We need to update the salary of an employee. I need to, why I retrieved the employees? Because I want to update the salary of an employee. That is why I retrieved. So now you need to write update statement here. Update statement. But you cannot update all the records at once. Okay, you cannot update all the records at once. You need to loop them. First record update, second record update, third record update, like that. Loop. So for that reason, you need to write for each loop. For each. For each loop, entity means single record from the list of records. Entity employee in, so here you have list of employees, list of employees dot entities. So if you write it like this, let's say we got 4 employees. So how will it run? It will loop each and every record. First employee update, second employee update, third employee update, like that. So we are just looping each and every record. Now we have to write the update statement here. Okay, if you want to update any record in CRM, first you need to create an object of that particular entity. See, let's say if I want to update account record, I have to create an object of that particular account entity. Now I want to update employee record. So I want to create an object of employee record. How to create an object of employee record? You have to write it like entity employee update equal to new entity. So you need to pass employee entity schema name. You need to pass employee entity schema name and employee entity id, employee record id. See, you got 4 employee records, right? Those 4 employee records ids you have to pass it here. First employee id, second employee id, third employee id. Okay, like that. Okay, if you want to update any record, you need to create an object of that particular record. So now I want to update employee salary. That is why I am creating employee object. How to create an employee object? Entity employee update equal to new entity. I have to pass employee entity schema name. What is employee entity schema name? So this is employee entity. So this is the schema name. Copy it, paste it here. So this is employee entity schema. I know that I need to update employee record, but which record I need to update, I don't know. Which entity, which record, which employee record I should update. I got all the employees, right? So these employees only I have to update. So first, this is first employee. First employee, if I write it like first employee dot id. Okay, second employee dot id, third employee dot id, fourth employee dot id. So whatever the employees that I retrieved here, those employees ids I have to pass it here, so that those records only will get updated. That is the reason we retrieved the employees first, only for this id. Okay, now we created an object. We created an employee object to update salary of an employee. So now I created this object. Which entity, which field I need to update in an employee? Which field we need to update?
Salary.
Salary field. So employee update, open close, double quotes, salary. So what is the schema name of salary? We don't know. Let's find it out, the schema name of employee. Okay, fields, salary. See, this is the schema name. Copy this, paste it here. I want to update employee salary with which value? Employee salary should get updated with
Annual
which value?
revenue.
With the annual revenue of account. Do we have
Account.
annual
Account.
revenue anywhere? Do we have annual revenue anywhere? See, here we are getting the target is account. From the account, what are we getting? Revenue. So annual revenue is available in this particular variable. So I am passing this annual revenue value here. So this is account annual revenue. I am passing it on to employee salary. Okay, account annual revenue, I am passing it on to employee salary. Now, to update, to create, to delete, to perform any operation, what we need? We need service. So service dot update. We want to update. Service dot update, open close. So this is your object, right? Employee update. So copy this object and paste it here. Now you are done. Now you are done. So employee update. So service dot update. I'm going to update and I'm passing the object of employee. So in this object, I am declaring that you need to go to this particular entity, this particular record, and update salary value of an employee with the annual revenue of account. So this is your update statement. With this, we are done. We are done with the plugin. You can save this plugin. Now your plugin implementation is done. We retrieved and we updated. Now what we have to do, we need to go to properties. This is your project. Right click on the project. Go to properties. Go to sign in. Okay, click on sign in the assembly. Click here. Click on new. So here you can remove this password thing. Key file name is, you can give it like salary update. You can give any name here, salary update. Click OK. Okay, now signing is done. You can click on save. You can close this. Now signing is done. After that, you need to build this assembly. See, you have written this code in Visual Studio. You are not going to copy paste this code into CRM. Same like custom workflow. We are not copy pasting this code into CRM. Instead, we are going to build the assembly. This is your project. Right click. You are going to build it. Once you build it, what will happen? It will generate a DLL file. So that DLL file you are going to register into CRM. Okay, so let's build this plugin. Build started, build succeeded. Now we build this plugin. So let's right click on the project. Go click on open folder in file explorer. So you can go to bin folder, debug folder. You can see the DLL file. This is your DLL file. mscrm.plugins.batch4.dll. So this is your DLL file. So this DLL file you have to register into CRM through plugin registration tool. Now you have to register this DLL into plugin registration tool, into CRM using plugin registration tool. Same like custom workflow. Okay, so let's open plugin registration tool. Where can we find the plugin registration tool? We can find the plugin registration tool from XRM toolbox. We already downloaded the XRM toolbox when we are discussing about the custom workflow. Okay, you can simply go to Google, type mscrm xrm toolbox download. Okay, you can open the XRM toolbox site, click on download. Once you download it, after extraction, see here, once you download it, it will be like this compressed GIF folder. You need to extract it. Right click and extract. Once you extract it, the folder looks like this. You can open XRM toolbox, double click on XRM toolbox. Now I am opening XRM toolbox because I want to use plugin registration tool to register my plugin. Okay, now just type plugin registration tool. So just to click here, type plugin registration. Okay, see here you have plugin registration. So click on plugin registration. When I click on that, it is saying, do you want to connect to organization first? Yes, I want to connect. So which is your instance? So I have trial CRM. So this is trial instance 2026. This is my connection. So select OK. So I have to enter the password here. Enter the password. Okay, now it is done. So now these are the existing plugins and custom workflows. Now you need to register your plugin. Okay, now you need to register your plugin. So that is why you need to click on register, register new assembly, register new assembly. So click on three dots here. I am going to register my DLL. Click on three dots. Okay, see, first go to your plugin. This is your plugin. So just give me a second. Yeah, so this is your plugin, this is your project. Right click on the project. and click on open folder in File Explorer. Go to bin folder. Copy this path, copy this, paste it here. So let's say you are here. Let's click on these three dots. So here you have a different path. Remove this path and paste the path that you have copied. Enter. Now you have your plugin DLL here. mscrm.plugins.batch4.dll. Click on open. Okay. So let's maximize it. So by default, it is registered in sandbox mode. Okay, sandbox mode. Okay, because this is online. Okay, and it is this DLL, this particular DLL will be stored in database. You have three places where you can store your DLL. Either you can store it in database or in disk or in GAC. Okay, so by default, it was selected like database since it is online version. So let's click on register selected plugin. Okay, now this is done. Registration is done. Plugin registration is done. Let's check where do we have the plugin. See here mscrm.plugins.batch4. It got registered. This is your plugin. This is your plugin. See, we have written the code by imagining that our plugin is going to trigger when I change the annual revenue of an account. Did anywhere we set the trigger? Did anywhere we set the trigger point of a plugin in the code? We didn't set the trigger point, right? So we just imagine that our plugin is going to trigger on change of annual revenue of an account. So that was the imagination, and we implemented the plugin based on that imagination. But we never set the trigger in the code. So you need to set the trigger point of a plugin. You need to set the trigger point of a plugin. What is your trigger point? When I modify annual revenue of an account, it should trigger. So that is my trigger point. So now you need to set the trigger point. So how to set the trigger point? So this is your plugin, right? Right click on the plugin. You have register new step. So you need to click on this register new step. Okay, so using this only you can set up the plugin trigger. Let's click on register new step. Okay, so message means update, create, delete, retrieve. So these are the messages. So what is your trigger point? What is your trigger point?
When you change the
Revenue.
modify the annual revenue.
Right, when I modify the annual revenue, it should get trigger. So the message would be update. So I am updating annual revenue, right? So message would be update. Let's say on create, if you want to trigger, you can set it to create. If you want to trigger it on deletion, you can select delete. Okay, so now I am selecting the message as update. On which entity we are going to trigger?
Account.
Account. So the primary entity should be account. Okay, you have to enter the schema name of that particular entity. Let's say if you want to trigger it on employee, then you have to enter the employee schema name here, not the display name. So secondary entity, it is almost all the times it is none. So primary entity is very important. Primary entity will tell us on which entity it is getting triggered. So you have filtering attributes. So on which field change we need to trigger?
Annual revenue.
Annual revenue. So let's click on filtering attributes. So let's type annual revenue. These are the account fields. See, you have annual revenue field here. Select annual revenue, click OK. Now in the filtering attribute, I selected annual revenue. What does this mean? Your plugin is going to trigger on account entity when we modify the revenue field, annual revenue field. Okay. So you have run in user context here. You have run in user context here. Run in user context. What is this? So by default, run in user context is calling user. What does this mean? Calling user means what? Let's say I logged into the system. See, I logged into the system as Dharani and I am modifying the annual revenue. Let's say right now it is 90. Now I am modifying it to 70. Save. Now I modified the annual revenue of an account, right? Who modified? Dharani modified. So who will become the calling user? Dharani will become the calling user. Whoever is modifying the annual revenue. Let's say Dattu logs into the system. He modified the annual revenue. So calling user would be Dattu. So whoever is modifying that annual revenue field, he will become the calling user. Okay, calling user means whoever is modifying that particular record, that user will become the calling user. Okay, or you can also set the calling user as any specific user. Let's say I do not want to keep uh, whoever is modifying the record under that particular user, my plugin is running, right? Calling user means, let's say if I am modifying, plugin will run under my context. If Dattu is modifying, then the plugin will run under his context. But I do not want to run my plugin on each and every user. Instead, I want to run my plugin on a specific user. I can also set it like click on here. I can also set it. So let's say I want to run under Dharani all the time. I want to run my plugin on Dharani all the time. Let's say I set run in user context as Dharani right now. What does this mean? Even if Dattu is modifying record, even if Sai is modifying record, the plugin will not run under their context. Plugin always run under Dharani's context. Okay, specific user. So we are not allowing the plugin to run under each and every user context. Instead, we are making or we are initiating the plugin and it should run always under Dharani's context. Okay, generally we will have a common account. Okay, see, we will have a in CRM projects, in all CRM projects, we will be having a common account, common admin account. So we this run in user context, mostly we will set it to that common account. So it will not run under each and every user context. Instead, we will make the plugin to run under common user. Okay, that is a system admin common user account. So we will select that account here, or we can keep it like calling user. Anything is fine. Only these two things we will do. Either we will make uh, our plugin run under each and every user by selecting calling user, or the plugin will be run under a single user, always admin user. Okay, so that is run in user context. So it might be a calling user or it might be a any specific user. Let's say if I select any specific user, that is called impersonation. Let's say if I select here as Dharani Gattamanine, let's say Sai logs into the system, Sai is modifying the annual revenue. So Sai is triggering the plugin, but is my plugin getting triggered or executing under Sai's context? No, it is not executing under Sai's context. Instead, it is running under Dharani's context. So Sai is initiating, but plugin is running under Dharani's context. So this process is called impersonation. Someone is initiating it, but plugin is running under other user. That is called impersonation. Okay, impersonation means I am initiating it, but plugin is not running under my context. It is running under other user context. Okay, so you have execution order here. You have execution order here. So what is the importance of execution order? Execution order, it was mentioned like one. What is the importance of this? Let's say you have two plugins. Okay, let me open Excel. you have two plugins. You have two plugins. You have plugin 1, you have plugin 2. Okay, so plugin 1 is getting triggered when we change revenue, annual revenue of account. Plugin 2 also, plugin 2 also it is getting triggered on change of annual revenue of an account. So both the plugins, plugin 1, plugin 2, both are getting triggered on change of annual revenue of an account. So which one should get trigger first? So plugin 2 should get trigger or plugin 1 should get trigger. So that can be decided by the execution order which is mentioning it here. So let's say if both the plugins, if many plugins are getting triggered on a single point, on a single field change, we don't know which plugin will trigger first. So to know which plugin is going to trigger first, we will give the order. Okay, let's say if I give plugin 2 as execution order 1, then plugin 2 will trigger first, after this plugin 1 trigger. So based on the execution order that we are providing it here, the plugins will trigger on that order. Okay, so that is the importance of execution order. If we have multiple plugins which are getting triggered, based on the execution order we can know which plugin will execute first and which plugin will execute next based on the execution order. Okay, so that is the importance of execution order. See, this defining the step or registering the step, this is very very important. Okay, so they will ask a lot of questions on this particular screen that you are seeing right now. So that is why I am going in detail into each and every step which is mentioned it here. Okay, so now we discussed about the execution order. So you have, next is eventing pipeline stage of execution. I will discuss about this particular topic tomorrow because it will take few minutes. I will take this tomorrow, but we can discuss about the execution mode. Same like system workflow, how you have background workflow, real-time workflow, synchronous workflow, asynchronous workflow. In plugin also you have two modes, asynchronous mode, synchronous mode. Okay, so if I run it as asynchronous mode, plugin will take some time to run. If I run it in synchronous mode, plugin will run immediately and show the result. And if I run my plugin in sorry, if I run my plugin in asynchronous mode, let's say if something breaks in the plugin, if you have any error in the plugin, that error message will not be shown to the user. But if I run my plugin in synchronous mode, whatever the errors that I am throwing, which will be shown to the user. Basically, if you run it in synchronous mode, errors will be visible to the user, okay, on the screen. But if you run it in asynchronous mode, errors will not be shown. So you have to go to plugin trace log and see the error from there. It will not be visible to you. So those are the differences. Synchronous is fast, it will show the result immediately. Asynchronous will take some time, it will be executed by asynchronous service. And if you want to show the error message to the user, you have to run the plugin in synchronous mode. If you run the plugin in asynchronous mode, errors will not be shown to the user. You have to go to plugin trace log to view the error messages. Okay, and you have two things here: secure configuration and unsecure configuration and secure configuration. So, what is the importance of unsecure configuration and secure configuration? Let's say you want to pass the data from CRM to Java application. You have a requirement you want to, when an account is created or when an account is updated, you want to send the account information from CRM to Java application. That is integration. We have integration in CRM. Let's consider. So you have to send the data from plugin. Okay, let's say when a record is created in account, then you have to trigger your plugin, and that plugin should pass the data from CRM to Java application. So if you want to pass the data from CRM to Java application, first you need to connect to Java application, right? So you need Java application URL, you need Java application username, password, etc., right? So those information you can store it in this secure and unsecure configuration. Okay, that information can be stored inside the secure configuration and unsecured configuration. That URL, username, password, server names, etc., that will be stored here. You can't store that information inside your code. You can also store it in inside the code, like URL of Java, username, password, etc. But what will happen? Let's say I modified the Java URL, Java instance URL. Then I have to come back to see this plugin. I need to modify the URL from here. I need to modify the code, right? So if you declare that URL here, I no need to modify the code. I can simply open this step and modify the URL of Java application. So whatever the configuration related stuff, it is kind of an XML file. Okay, app.config file. So here you can declare the configuration related stuff like URLs, usernames, passwords, etc., that can be stored up here. Okay, so you have a difference, like what is unsecured, why they have two. Okay, so you have unsecured, you have secure. So you have the differences. You can type it like MSCRM plugin unsecure unsecure configuration versus secure configuration. So if you want to know the difference between unsecure and secure configuration, you can simply type like this. So this is unsecure configuration, this is secure configuration. Visibility. Visible to the all users with access to the plugin registration tool. Only visible to the users with the system administrator or system customizer role. See, let's say if I define the in the unsecured configuration, let's say I declared the password here. Okay, password equal to, let's say I declared the password like this 123. In the unsecured configuration, if I click on register, it will get register. So this password will be visible to the all users, visible to the all users with access to the plugin registration tool. Let's say I am the user, Sai is the user, Dattu is the user. They have the access to connect to plugin registration tool. Let's say Dattu logs into the plugin registration tool. He can see this particular password. Sai has the access to plugin registration tool. He can see the password. So there is no protection. If you declare password under unsecure configuration, it will be visible to the all users who has an access to plugin registration tool. Let's say if I declare it in secured configuration, I declared this password under here, password equal to 123. What will happen? If I declare it in under secure configuration, let's say Dattu is sales person, Sai is sales manager. So they are not the administrators. They are not the admins. Let's say they will not be able to see this password. Let's say I am the system administrator or I am the system customizer. I have the highest security role. Then I can see this particular security password. So whoever is having the system administrator or system customizer security role, they can only see the password. But if you define it under unsecure configuration, anybody can see who has the access to plugin registration tool. Okay, that is the visibility thing. Use case, non-sensitive data, like, see, you can store the information like URLs, any server names, etc. If you have URLs, any server names, uh, non-confidential things, that can be stored under unsecure configuration. If you have a uh, confidential data like passwords, etc., that can be stored under secure configuration. Okay, if you have non-confidential things, you can store it in unsecure configuration. If you have a secured things or confidential things, that you can store it in secure configuration. Okay, so you have the differences. Basically these are the two differences: visibility and what kind of data we can store it in secure and unsecure configuration. Storage also, you can see stored in plain text within the step. Okay, this one stored in a separate config entity, encrypted. Okay, see, let's say if I declare, if I declare password in unsecured configuration. Okay, when I click on register step, this is a step, right? SDK message processing step. So this data which I entered in unsecured configuration, it will be stored with this step only. Okay, with this step. But if I declare the step, sorry, if I declare the password in the secured configuration, then it will not be stored this information inside this particular step. This information will not be stored inside the particular step. It will be stored in a separate entity. See, there is an entity called SDK message processing step secure config. So there is another entity. In that entity, this particular information is stored. This information will not be stored along with the step. If I declare it in unsecured, it will be stored along with the step. Okay, so three differences: visibility. So it will, in unsecure, it will be visible to all who has the access to plugin registration tool. If I declare it in secure, it will be only visible to admins. Okay, second thing is, let's say if you have confidential data, you have to store it in secure. If you have non-confidential data, you can store it in unsecure. Third one is storage. So if I declare anything under unsecured configuration, that information will be stored along with the step. But if I declare anything under secure configuration, that cannot be stored along with the step, it can be stored in another entity. In secure config entity, there is another entity, and in that entity, this data will be stored in encrypted format. Okay, so those are the basic differences of unsecured and secured configuration. Okay, so we will discuss about eventing stage of pipeline. So this thing we will, it will take few minutes, so I will explain this tomorrow. Yeah, with this I'll just pause it here for today. Today we have seen how to write a plugin, retrieve and update statements, and we build the plugin, we register the plugin, and we are going to set the trigger point using register new step. Okay, so with this I'll just pause it here for today. So if you have any open questions, you can raise it. Open for questions. Okay, then if no other questions, I think we are good to close the call for today. Thanks for joining, and we will reconnect tomorrow at the same time.